Hi, I'm Jeff Murrah, and I want to welcome you to True Texas History, where today I'm going to be talking about untangling Texas history concerning Tom Green. Um, there are some figures in Texas history where there is a lot of confusion over which one that you're talking about. And Tom Green is one of those characters, because I know just a casual perusal of web pages, there were two characters, two different men named Tom Green, and many times the historians confuse the two. And there is a huge distinction between them. One was Nathaniel Tom Green, and the other one was Thomas Jefferson Green. And although each Tom Green did some phenomenal things, and they were both at the Battle of San Jacinto, it's going to be important to not confuse them. So let's just go ahead and refer to the Nathaniel Thomas Green as Tom Green, and the other one is Thomas Jefferson Green. Both of them fought in the Texas Revolution. Now, Tom Green, he manned one of the twin sisters and was there at the battle. And the other Tom Green was Brigadier General Thomas Jefferson Green. Now, part of the confusion comes because each of them were involved in some fascinating and intriguing parts of Texas history. Now, this General Green, Thomas Jefferson Green, he brought a party of volunteers down here for the Texas Revolution, and they arrived, went ahead and stormed where Santa Anna was being held, and they threatened to go ahead and hang the man. It took the intervention of Milam and a few Rusk, and a few others to go ahead and get Santa Anna released. Now, I hope one day to go ahead and do a story on how Santa Anna ended up going from Texas to Washington, D.C., because that's another fascinating story that a lot of people don't address. But that Thomas Jefferson Green was the one that was involved with that. That same Thomas Jefferson Green was also involved with the Somerville expedition, the Battle of Mier, and also the Black Bean episode, and the escape from Perote prison that was associated with the whole Black Bean episode. That's Thomas Jefferson Green. Tom Green, on the other hand, was known as one of the smartest men that was in the early colonial Texas. Worked there in the court system. He was trained as a lawyer. He came in with degrees, and he made some contributions to Texas along the way. It was a big supporter of the Texas Navy, and he is the one that went on to become a general during the Civil War. Now, he was an older man at the time, but he had the reputation from having fought in the Texas Revolution, and so a lot of the men respected him as one of the founding fathers of Texas, who was guiding us in that war. And he was also participated in the Mexican-American War. And in that one, it was quite interesting. In the Battle of Monterey, the American general was getting stuck and was not making a lot of headway. The Mexican forces outnumbered and should have dominated. But this Tom Green went ahead and took some Rangers and went ahead and scaled the heights where some of the Mexican cannons were, and he went ahead and captured those cannons and was able to essentially kind of save the day there. And then you find that same Tom Green was involved in an episode later on in the New Mexican campaign during the war between the states, where his forces were instrumental in capturing another battery of cannons that that's a whole nother story. I have to get into that later, but they managed capturing them. And that Tom Green was also involved in the Battle of Galveston. He was in charge of the sharpshooters on the Cottonplands, later involved in repelling some of the Union invasion during the Bayou Teche campaign. So he was involved in a lot of battles. Ironically, one of the people that he worked with in manning the cannons was Joseph Sayers. Now, Joseph Sayers later went on to become governor of the great state of Texas. But Tom Green was a valiant figure. And the thing is, although he was mild-mannered most of the time, there were times that when he drank, he was willing to take on a wildcat, and he was known for some of his drinking bouts. But these two men are very distinctly different, although both had some fascinating military accomplishments. The other Tom Green, Thomas Jefferson Green, after a while, he left Texas, went out to California, and was instrumental in starting the University of California, of all the places. Now that Tom Green, Thomas Jefferson Green, ended up dying out in California and was eventually buried back in his native North Carolina. Tom Green was, after he died in a battle, when his men, the cavalry unit, went ahead and took on some gunboats, and he ended up literally losing his head due to one of the gunboats firing a cannon, and he is buried in Texas State Cemetery. So big difference, and when you're going through historic documents, it's going to be important to sort the two of them out. The first General Green was a general during the Texas Revolution. He was involved in a lot of the Republic of Texas forays. The other Tom Green was also involved in the Battle of San Jacinto in the Mexican War, but also became a general in the war between the states. So you need to keep the General Greens separate. I'm hoping this helps you untangle some things about Texas history. I enjoyed it. If you have any questions, concerns, future topics that you want me to address, I'll be glad to address them. So until then, this is Jeff Murrah wishing you vaya con Dios, my friends. Feel free to give it likes. Keep things going. Talk to you later. Bye.